Hey folks, okay, so I'm going to set you up for the next section of this database class, this CMAP 1815. All right, so you can see here on my screen here, I've got a spreadsheet. I've shared this with you, but I'll email this link to you as well. On this spreadsheet that you're looking at, you can see that there's several different columns, A through F. I want you to fill in any of the missing information next to your name, including your preferred first name, your email address, and check and make sure that the phone number and that sort of thing is correct. If you have multiple phone numbers, you can put them in there as well. But make sure this is good information. And so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to create an account for you so that you'll have access to a place where you can work with the MySQL application. And in the preferred domain name here, in this section, that's what I want you to, this is going to take a little bit of your time. Think about what you prefer your domain name to be. So you can see that mine is mattyher.com. And this is how people would get to that particular server. So that's where you would, that's the domain name that's connected with the server that I'm going to purchase for you. So in my case, if I click on the Matty Her, it takes us to a page that looks like this. This was just a website that I was working on for somebody. I'll change that. But anyway, that name connects to that server that I want to purchase for you. So in order to know what's available for your preferred domain name, you're going to need to do a little bit of research. So what I'd recommend is, and there's a lot of different ways that you could go do this. This is just one way. If you go to networksolutions.com, and it'll bring up, hopefully, a page that'll look something like this. Again, there's a ton of different ways you can do this. Go all the way to the bottom of the page. Whoops. All the way to the bottom of the page. At the bottom of the page is this thing called a Who Is search. So who is? When you go to who is, it says to who is, look up, find out who owns that domain. So basically we're looking to see who owns the domain. So if I did this, I'm going to use one of the students in the class as my example. So I'm going to use robhaviland.com, and I'm going to see if anybody actually owns this thing. And when I click on the search button, it's going to bring up an I'm not a robot. And when I click continue, it'll let me know who the results or who actually has these. So it shows me that the available extensions for this are Rob Haviland. There's all sorts of these things. So it doesn't look like anybody actually owns this right now, which is good. So I could sign Rob up for this one if that was his preferred domain. Some of you may have some other wishes for things like that though, but this will be your domain. So what I would recommend is that you do a little bit of thinking about this, do a little bit of research, and once you figure out what that's going to look like, so if it's Rob Haviland, we can come back here and I can type that in here. So I'll type robhaviland.com, and that's the preferred domain name that Rob's going to, we're going to try to purchase for Rob. And again, make sure that we've got information in all of these other fields. And then once I get that from each one of you, I'll be purchasing a domain and I'll send you the credentials, and you'll receive an email from a place called Reclaim Hosting. And Reclaim Hosting is the place where you're going to connect to your server. So once you connect to your server, then I'll give you further instructions. But this is going to take us a little bit of time to get this set up. But this will be the basis for the rest of the work that we're going to do in the class here. So a few things we're going to do. Number one, you're going to build yourself the server, which is simply pulling up this domain name. And I'll send you the details on the server. You'll get connected to the server. You're going to build a couple of databases. You're going to build yourself a very simple website, and you're going to build yourself a very simple web page that can connect to one of your databases. And I'll give you more details on that as we go. And if you have questions, let me know. And onward.